we meet an incredibly talented musician named Lucia Micarelli. Micarelli trained classically at the Juilliard School starting at just 11 years old, and her playing has even impressed world-renowned violinist Itzhak Perlman. She's become a sought-after soloist, performing with trumpeter and composer Chris Bode, singer Josh Groban, and in the rock music world with Jethro Tull and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. She now has her own established solo career, including her very first PBS concert special. But her career almost ended one night at a fancy party in Italy. Micarelli stopped by our Milwaukee PBS studios recently to share her story of her journey so far and her musical inspirations.
I'm always thinking about music. I'm always thinking about playing too. I mean, it's pretty dorky, but I'm always thinking about music. Before I understood music more intellectually, I always felt really emotionally connected to it. My name is Lucia Micarelli. I am a violinist. I started violin when I was 3. My mother made me play the violin. You know, my mother was very involved in the technical aspect of like getting on top of the violin and getting around it and practicing and auditioning and things like that. But my dad, he was so emotional, he was so moved by everything and so moved by words and so moved by music. I think I get a lot of that from him. I knew that I wanted to be a violinist probably when I was, 6 or 7. When I was 11, I auditioned for the Juilliard School pre-college division, and that was a big step. I started off with classical music, like super hardcore. I never even listened to any music that wasn't classical until I was like 17. Once I started working, it was like working with Josh Groban and then with Chris Bode and just working with all these different people and not just being exposed to those artists, but their bands and their, like, all the musical people that they knew really kind of gave me an education. All of these experiences and all these people that I've met and just absorbing all this music has kind of gotten me to this place where I love just a really wide variety of things. When I put together a program to play live, my number one concern is I don't want to play anything that I'm not in love with. And so it ends up being a really eclectic mix of things. It's classical and it's jazz and there's folk music. I like it that way. I feel like it's really representative of just sort of all the influences I've had in my life. It's all music that I feel really strongly connected to. I've loved performing since I was little. And I get super nervous, I just love how alive it is and how it's a collaborative experience, not just with the other musicians, but it's a collaborative experience with an audience. It was the 4th of July, and I was on tour with Chris Bode. We were doing a wedding in Italy, and we had just done the concert and we were backstage. I was holding a glass and I was wearing my gown and I tripped on my dress and I landed on the glass. Went to the ER, they just like closed it up, came back to LA, went straight to a hand surgeon, and then we found out I had severed 3 nerves in my left hand.
This little cut must have had like a dagger in it because it went all the way down to the bone.
Oh, those are playing fingers. Left hand is, I mean, that was what was so nerve-wracking, was I was worried, you know, I have to do a lot more with this hand. I do remember asking my surgeon if he thought I would play again, and he was like, well, I think so. We just kind of didn't know, and the feeling thing was the big question, because I still don't, after all these years, I still don't have full feeling in 3 fingers, in my thumb, forefinger, and pinky finger, and kind of just didn't know what that would mean. When they took the cast off and I couldn't move my fingers and I was just like this for a week or 2, I was like, I couldn't imagine, you know, I was just like, this is the worst possible thing to be looking at it, and you're like, okay, I can't even open my hand, but I'm totally gonna play the violin again. I just did a lot of physical therapy and just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, tried to get on the fiddle and just kept trying to play. You know, and I ended up recovering really quickly because of that. It just made me realize so many things that have really fed my life have come out of this instrument and my relationship with this instrument. Just in the classical repertoire, there's so much music that I want to play. I don't know if I'm going to get to play it all, but God, I hope so. Anyone can be successful doing anything they want as long as it's something they really love. I hope that if I love it and I present it with a lot of love, then other people will see why I love it and hopefully they'll like it too.